Hello and welcome to another episode of A Bright Side. A few weeks ago I went for a bit of a stank around Lesingey Castle, which is like an Iron Age round, a hill fort on the eastern side of Penzance, and it got me thinking. I wanted to return to Lesingey Round. Went there a couple of years ago and I wanted to redocument the place, show you guys again what's up there. Basically it's kind of like a smaller version of Lesingey Castle, but it is more intact and we will be able to see a lot more stuff. So let's go check it out. When I say there is more to see up there, basically what you have... a bit slippery there. I've got the Wellington boots on today because it has been raining quite heavily of late, so it's probably quite sodden up over ground. But Lesingey, what's it called? Where am I going? Lesingey Round, that's it. The difference of Lesingey Round, flip the camera around, and Lesingey Hill Fort is the fact that Lesingey, half of it's been built on. So basically it's on the other side of Penzance, in really amongst the buildings, the houses, the allotments. There's only about half of it that really kind of exists now. Lesingey Round, nothing is built around Lesingey, so it is a more complete site, and you can still see the defensive ditch that went around it, that all these sort of Iron Age places had. Like I said in the intro, I have been there before with you guys. In fact, it was one of my very early videos a couple of years ago. So like I said, when I was up at Lesingey, I thought to myself, I'd like to go back to Lesingey Round. So that's what I'm going to do. I definitely won't be going in that field. Still wandering up this seemingly endless path. I believe this is how horror movies start. If you never see me again, know that I loved you all. Fun fact, one of the most dangerous roads in Cornwall apparently, the St Just Road, that along with the stretch of the A30 from Penzance to Land's End. Apparently the two most dangerous roads in Cornwall. Do get some lovely views on this road though, of like Newlyn looking out to sea there across Mounts Bay, Mount Misery up there. Yeah, nice views. I have actually now made it to Lesingey Lane. So let's head down there in the direction of this farm and check out this beautiful, well I think it's beautiful, this beautiful Iron Age hill fort. I do love walking out to these ancient sites, be even walking range of like Penzance, or Shelley and I, we hop in the car. There's something, I don't know, quite mystical about these historical sites that have been around for like thousands of years. People lived in these places, and I get a bit sort of that sort of romantic notion about these old homesteads. But I don't know, what do you guys think? I think they're fantastic places. And there it is, Lesingey Round. Just up there in the distance, all covered by trees now. We'll obviously have a closer look in a minute. There's like this entrance here. You can see how muddy it is, hence the welly boots. I've walked in this direction, heading in this direction, on Lesingey Lane, and we're going to take a right now and head through these farming fields. Definitely got to watch my footing here. Glad I wore the boots, that's for sure. My goodness, how darn tootin' deep is this? Oh, okay, all right. Oh, okay, we're doing it. Whoa, that was That was almost up to the top of my boot. Just entered into another field now because I believe the entrance is right there. I've just passed the entrance on my right hand side. I just want to see what this gate says. It says private keep out, so we're obviously not going to go through there because obviously they've got crops and everything growing, but I will just point the camera over this gate. It states here private keep out. Beautiful views. Nice. Such a good place to build a settlement. You know, these like hill forts, they have a commanding view of the surrounding countryside. Look at that. So the farm, well, we're in the farm obviously, but the farm house proper I believe is down there over that little bank. Not sure what that, I don't know if that's like, is it like Trengwainton or something like that, I don't know. That must be Madron. Let me zoom in. Up there, right in the centre of frame. Again, as always with this camera, because it's just a vlogging camera, it's not a, you know, it hasn't got a fancy zoom on it. But right in the centre of frame is Madron Church. I assume it's Madron. Yeah, would be, wouldn't it? Yeah, ignore me. That's definitely Madron. And then we carry on our sweep. Again, just up to this gate, with a very commanding view of what is now Penzance down there, and the bay. Yeah, nice. Right, let's head in to this old homestead because I'm hungry and I've got a pasty to eat. Right, let's get into the nitty gritty of it. This will be the north entrance of Lesingey Round. We have a placard here that states this site is cared for by Cornish Ancient Sites Protection Network. Obviously the Cornish then underneath, which I hate the fact that I cannot speak my own language. I must learn Cornish. I really must try and learn Cornish one day when I got time. There is a number there, a couple of numbers there to report any damage. Please take care not to cause damage, blah blah blah. So right, let's head in. Obviously this wall is not Iron Age. I would say that would be more, I don't know. I think this place was scheduled back in the 1950s, I want to say. So it might date to the scheduling, or of course it might be a little bit older than that. It might be Victorian. I don't know, but you can see the overgrown stonework there that again would not have been there during the time of Lesingey Round being an actual settlement. But what we can see very clearly is this defensive ditch. And this is what you couldn't see at Lesingey Castle, the Lesingey Hill Fort, because it had been damaged so much over the years with the building of Penzance. Ultimately, Penzance has spread in that direction, and basically half of Lesingey Castle is all covered in allotments and houses, which is a real shame, because you can't really see any defining features of it. If you didn't know what Lesingey Castle, not Lesingey, what am I talking about, Lesingey, if you didn't know what Lesingey Castle was, you would just walk through it as a field. You wouldn't have a clue. Whereas this one, very clearly you can see that that ditch has been created by man. Right, if I remember rightly, last time I came here, about 2 years ago, I walked around that side, around that way, and then did the loop. I might go this way this time. So again, what you can do here at Lesingey Round is walk the entire perimeter through what would have been the defensive ditch. So there's that gate that said keep out, so we're obviously on the other side of that wall, of that boundary. Now this side is slightly less prominent. You can see the defensive ditch, but not as clearly as where we were a minute ago on that north side. So this will be the eastern side now of Lesingey Round. And I think I'm just going to let the camera roll. Why not? We'll make this a really long take. Again, there's that wall, so again, not Iron Age, looking out into that field. Again, lovely commanding views all around, hence this place being built on a hill. You can't imagine that, can you? Can you imagine? Can you imagine finding a hill to build a homestead, you know, obviously a community of people, and you have to build a defensive ditch around it because you might get attacked? I mean, what the heck? I mean, we wouldn't... well, I mean, in Britain today, I mean, we just wouldn't live like that, would we? I mean, that's bizarre. Well, maybe we do in some places, who knows? The Skudgett Castle is about twice the size of this one, of Lesingey Round. Skudgett is about 3 acres in size. This is about 1.5 acres. Oh, again, you can see that lovely defensive ditch coming down there. So I suppose ultimately, if you did have an eye of, you know, you wanted to come up here and take what they had, pillage, whatever, you'd have to run up these banks. Obviously these banks would have been eroded, and you know, I mean, it's 2,000 years have passed. None of these trees would have been here. Just as a side note, all these trees have you know, grown in recent times. But yeah, none of, you know, I mean, obviously it would look completely different, to be honest. Completely different. None of these trees. Again, obviously not that hedge line there to the left. The bank would have just rolled down in this direction, carrying on down the hill in all directions. Presumably there would have been some sort of, so obviously your ditch, and then presumably there would have been some sort of wall, probably wooden. Could have been made of stone, I guess. I suppose like some of these sites, when they fell out of use, lots of the material was pillaged to build other structures locally, so I suppose maybe there could have been stone structures up there, but probably wood, I would say. Possibly one of the longest camera takes I've ever done. But 6 minutes and 30 seconds. Another love if I just come up this little wall a minute, poke the camera in that direction. You can see, oh my goodness! You can see there Newlyn, Mount Misery in that direction. Penzance now to the left of us down in that direction. Very difficult to see through all the thicket and brush and bushes, but Penzance down there. Right, now I've got to get out of here because I would have probably have turned the camera off at this point, but I said it was going to be one long take. So let's just keep the camera rolling. So this will be coming down, yes, so we're going to make a turn now. So this is the eastern side, and we're going to turn now onto the southern side of Lesingey Round. Oh, it's such a cool place. You know, if you're interested in ancient history, Iron Age Britain, etc., etc., then you'll know what I mean, because this place is awesome, and I much prefer it to Lesingey Castle because you can still see what this place was. And like I said a minute ago, you can't really see that very well in Lesingey. It's so radically changed. But here, and it's quiet too, apart from some birds, a little bit of a breeze up there, you can hear the wind. You know, this place is really quiet. I mean, people do come up here, probably walk their dogs, or maybe just like what I'm doing, just coming up out of interest. Oh, someone's been chopping up some logs. Coming down the west side of it now. Yeah, if you share my interest in history, you'll know what I'm talking about when it comes to places like this. Almost there, almost back around at that north entrance. Yeah, this is the steepest of the sides, as it is now, of course. As it is now. Back in the day it was probably roughly even going around, but 2,000 years of, I suppose, erosion, 2,000 years of weathering, obviously all this tree growth takes its toll. There we have it. That's where we came in. So that will be to the north, Madron up in that direction, Penzance off to the east, Newlyn, hang on, east, what comes after that? South. And obviously the western half there. Awesome. We did it. That was a 10-minute, nearly an 11-minute take to, and I know I stopped a few times and I'm obviously jabbering away and talking to you guys, but that was an 11-minute take to walk around the Lesingey Round. Like I said, about half the size of Lesingey Castle. That's 3 acres, this is 1.5. Nice. Do you see those birds? I could just stand here. I could just stand here for like forever and a day listening to those birds. Pity you got the hum of traffic over to the west, but that's progress, baby. Right, I'm going to head partially away around because I'm going to access the hill proper. So, and here it is. Here's the path, or a path, one of the paths that lead up on this eastern side. Again, that field, no permission to go in there. There's that gate, and we're going to head up here. Oh, a little bit off balance. There we go. And this, guys, is the actual Lesingey Round, the top of it, the top of the hill. Very cool. And it is just me up here. Just me on my own. It's the way I like it, to be honest. Don't tell Shelley and the kids. Yeah. talked a lot about the Lesingey site over on the eastern side of Penzance. What I'll do, as always, if you want to see that video, I'll leave a link in the description. Okay, it's pasty time. Just to add to the ambience still further, it's now starting to rain again. I'm gonna have to be a little bit careful with the camera. I didn't bring a brolly because, like I said, it's not a waterproof camera, so I'll have to be a little bit careful of that. But here is my pasty. What a place to enjoy a pasty. Not just any pasty, but in my opinion, the best pasty in Penzance. And that is Harvey Brothers the Butchers. And if you like your pasties and you've never been and had one at the butcher's there at the top of Chapel Street, oh man, you are in for a treat. I'm not here to talk about pasties. In fact, I'm going to put the camera away in a minute. But oh, just perfectly seasoned, beautiful meat. I don't know, just butcher's pasties, I think, are the best. Go down to Harvey Brothers, get a pasty. You will not be disappointed. Look at that. Right. That weather's a bit of a bummer, isn't it? How wet? The camera's not too wet. Alright, we'll let it roll for a bit. Yeah, basically, whenever I come to these places, I look around and I let my imagination do the work. So I just think now, in my mind's eye, I've taken all these trees away, evened out the hill a little bit probably, dotted some homesteads around. I can see why people called this home. Like I said, very commanding position up on a hill. Same with Lesingey. Oh. Oop. Oh. I could almost like feel the history on this hill. I think. Really? Do you have to rain? Just filming off of the phone just to show you guys. I've just hidden the camera, covered the camera up with this like sleeve thing that holds the tripod. Got the bigger tripod out today. So hopefully that'll just keep the rain at bay, and hopefully it won't be raining too long. Got the hood up for a minute. Camera's still covered over. Rain has been a bit off and on today, last few days. Well, we've just had Storm Kiron, which caused a bit of damage. Hopefully it'll pass in a minute. Right, if the audio is a little bit different here on in, what I'm going to do is, I've checked on the weather app, and basically the rain is not due to stop for 46 minutes. So I'm going to just be standing here getting wetter and wetter for 46 minutes plus. So I'm going to carry on this video on my phone, which is what I'm looking into now, because it's just too darn tootin' wet for the camera, because the camera, it's not waterproof. And it is an expensive piece of kit. So I'm going to carry on with this video on the phone. Hence the audio being a little bit different now. Right, so basically, this is the top of Lesingey Round. All covered in trees now. Nasty, nasty weather up there. Oh, that pasty, by the way, very delicious. Highly recommend a Harvey Brothers pasty. So we're going to walk here, which is on like this eastern fringe, this southeastern fringe of the hill, and we're going to look. So there runs the defensive ditch going down, and then there's your view out towards that's Newlyn out that way, Penzance down here. So yeah, so standing up on this like little mound that leads down to that drop, presumably there was some sort of wall along here, probably wooden, like I said earlier on in the video. I say that, but who knows? I mean, it might not have been a wall as such made of wood or stone. It could have been a wall, it could have been part of a defensive, you know, like line that was made from earth. Standing up on this little rise, you can see the 1.5 acres that makes up Lesingey Round. And like I said, I love these places. Like I said, my mind's eye, my imagination runs wild, because like I get rid of all these trees in my mind. And I mean, who knows where I was eating that pasty earlier on, just there by that tree, I think. I mean, I could have been standing in the middle of somebody's home. You know, those like round houses that you see in the Iron Age. I mean, people lived up here. I mean, I don't know, it blows my mind to think that people, this was someone's home. This was like a farming community, perhaps, some sort of ancient homestead. Yeah, I think it's fascinating. People, you know, they would have kept warm, they would have hunkered down, they would have had animals, they would have laughed, they would have loved. They were just ordinary people, and I think that is sometimes overlooked with history. I think sometimes with history, let me know in the comments what you think, but I think sometimes with history, you only ever hear about, like, I don't know, Julius Caesar, Winston Churchill, George Washington. You only ever hear of, like, the big boys of history. But to me, as interesting as those people are, I would much rather learn about ordinary people. I don't know, what do you think? Like I said, let me know in the comments. Better? Maybe not. Okay, this is getting quite difficult to film now. So the awkward thing about filming off of the phone is that I often use the phone to just quickly go onto the interwebs and find out some information for you guys. But I obviously can't really do that while I'm here filming and oh my goodness. Because I'm obviously using the phone. But I have just read, it said Lesingey Round is classified as a ring fort, as opposed to a hill fort, which is a smaller version of a hill fort. So it's actually a ring fort. And they don't know, so although the defensive ditch is well defined and clearly visible, they don't know, there's no evidence, archaeological evidence, of where the entrance was. So really, you can come up here and your guess is as good as mine. It could be off to the east, could be off to the south, west, north. There is no current evidence of where the entrance would have been. But even so, you know, not a bad little size community up here, really. 1.5 acres, like I said, about half the size of Lesingey Castle. I suppose the nice thing about Lesingey Castle is with all the houses built, like, on one side of it, on the eastern side of it, at least people still live on the on the Skugit Castle, right? And just having read, this place was designated as a scheduled site on the 22nd of July 1958. I'm just going to wait it out for just another minute or two. Although it's still quite heavy, it's starting to break. The sun is breaking through, so it's getting a little bit brighter, so I might be able to revert back to the camera in a minute. Although, to be honest, I think we've just about pretty much seen everything up here. Some time has passed and I've reverted back to the camera. Just reading here off of the internet. Quite interesting, it says in 1584 the topographer John Norden referred to an ancient ruined castle on a mound near Penzance, calling it Castle Hornick. He may have been describing this site, which suggests that the site was occupied in medieval period. The existing Castle Hornick is about 440 yards away. Cornish horn and horneck are iron in English, so Castle Hornick would have some kind of translation to Iron Castle. Lesingey Round is colloquially known as Bluebell Dell. I never knew that. And although it is probably not technically a dell, in fact it is surprisingly elevated and quite a step up, so easily understood to be a fort, it is always full with bluebells each spring. Well, that's nice, isn't it? But yeah, glad I was able to get the camera back out. A little bit drizzly still. Most of the rain now coming down is from, falling down from the trees. Yeah, what an amazing sight. What an amazing sight. You can just feel the history in these sorts of places. I love it. I've got a few other places like Chichester, Menontoll and Carnuni. Like I said, I'll leave some relevant links if you want to see those videos. The links will be in the description. But I think, from the Lesingey Round, that's going to do it. We're going to leave this rainy video there. I do hope you enjoyed it. If you have an interest in Iron Age history, all that sort of stuff, definitely pop up to the Lesingey Round because I think you'll find it of interest. Don't forget to do all the usual YouTube stuff, like, subscribe and smash the bell. Check us out on all of our socials at The Brightside. So from us to you, cheers and gone.